the City of Jinns, Africa's most haunted place. Ebotenpok, whoever enters never returns the same. In the heart of Africa, hidden deep within a vast and desolate desert, lies a place so feared that even the bravest refuse to go near it. An abandoned city, lost in time, where strange whispers float through the air and shadows move even when no one is there. The locals call it the City of Jinns. A place cursed by spirits where no human is welcome. Stories say those who dare to enter either vanish forever or return possessed. For centuries, the elders have warned travelers to stay away, but every few years, curiosity claims another victim. The forbidden journey begins. A few years ago, an explorer named Malik Idris ignored the warnings and set out to uncover the truth. He was a rational man, a journalist fascinated by folklore, convinced that the supernatural was just an illusion created by fear. With his camera, a flashlight, and a notebook, he stepped into the ruins just as the sun began to set. His guide, an old villager named Hassan, refused to go beyond the outer walls. He stood there, trembling, and muttered, "You still have time to turn back, Malik. The jinn do not forgive intrusions." Malik scoffed. "There are no such things as jinn, Hassan, just stories." Hassan only shook his head and whispered a prayer as Malik disappeared into the darkness. The City of Silence. As Malik walked deeper into the ruins, he noticed something strange. The air was unnaturally still. The usual sounds of the desert, wind rustling, distant animal cries, were absent. There were no birds, no insects, just silence. The buildings, ancient and crumbling, were covered in strange carvings. They depicted creatures with elongated limbs and hollow eyes. Some appeared to be bowing before an unseen entity. A chill ran down Malik's spine. Then he heard it, a whisper, soft at first like a distant echo carried by the wind. "Leave now, or you will never leave at all." He spun around, his flashlight sweeping through the ruins. Nothing. Sense. Just broken pillars and shadows stretching unnaturally across the sand. His camera flickered. The battery had been full when he arrived, but now the screen glowed red. Low battery. Strange. He pulled out his notebook to write, but when he flipped the pages, they were blank. The ink had faded completely, as if something had drained the words away. The nightmare begins. A sudden gust of wind blew through the city, bringing with it a distant laughter. It was high-pitched, unnatural, neither male nor female. It echoed from all directions. Malik's breathing grew heavy. Was this an illusion? A trick of the mind? He forced himself to move forward, but the streets had changed. The paths that led back had vanished, twisting into endless corridors of ruins. It was as if the city itself was shifting, trapping him inside. Then he saw them, tall, shadowy figures standing at the edge of his vision, thin, with glowing eyes that pierced the darkness. They didn't move, but he could feel them watching, studying, waiting. Malik's heart pounded. He turned and ran, blindly, desperately. His mind screamed for him to stop, but something inside told him he had to keep moving. The laughter grew closer. Now it was whispering his name. Malik, Malik, Malik. He stumbled into an open courtyard and saw an ancient well in the center. Carved symbols covered the stone walls. His flashlight flickered again, revealing something carved at the base. "Do not speak, do not drink, do not look inside." A loud boom echoed behind him. The figures were closer now, their eyes burning like embers. They were no longer waiting. They were coming. Malik did the one thing he knew he shouldn't. He looked inside the wall. The abyss of the jinn darkness, infinite and endless. And then, eyes. Hundreds of them staring back. The shadows slithered upwards, reaching for him. A force pulled him forward. He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the void. He felt himself falling, even though his feet were still on the ground. Then a voice, deep, guttural, ancient. "You were warned." The world went black. They returned, but not the same. Days later, villagers found Malik wandering near the city's outskirts. His eyes were hollow, his lips moving without sound. He spoke in a language no one understood, his body covered in strange, ancient symbols burned into his skin. He never spoke of what happened inside, but but at night he would wake up screaming, as if the whispers had followed him home. No one has dared to enter the City of Jinns since, because those who do never return the same.